Good morning to all. Thank you, Lord, for shower your blessings upon us throughout this program. I'm very glad and respectfully and cordially welcome all the participants on this fourth day of national level workshop on NCC and overview. I would like to take pride in this, saying that the talent they have displayed here is the proof they have the potential to become better citizens in the society and help themselves and others. Now it's time to honor and welcome the today's resource person, Lieutenant Dr. Edwin Gladson, Assistant Professor and Associate NCC Officer, St. Xavier's Catholic College of Engineering, Nagarkoil, on this special day. He is a highly respectable officer in the society and well known for his accomplishment and achievements in the field of NCC. He is indeed a multifaceted personality and society needs several such persons today. It's really an honor to having him as the resource person on this workshop on NCC and overview. On behalf of JSC, affiliated to 2 Tamil Nadu Girls Battalion NCC Madurai, I cordially welcome you for this 4th day program. The topic of the today's program is First Aid Basics for NCC Cadets. Now, let me invite the today's resource person to take over the session. Thank you.
Very good morning to all of you. Hope you all are safe at home, healthy and doing well. I am Major S. Edwin Gladson, ANO and Associate Professor in Physics of St. Xavier's Catholic College of Engineering, Nagarkoil, which is attached to the NCC Unit 11 Tamil Nadu Battalion NCC Nagarkoil of Madurai Group. I take this opportunity to thank the management of Jayaraj Annapakyam College for Women, Periyakulam, and I especially appreciate and thank Lieutenant Merlin Diana for giving this platform to me. My sincere gratitude to our management, our OC Colonel Vinod Bhaskar, AO Lieutenant Colonel V.V. Prasad of 11th Tamil Nadu Battalion NCC Nagarkoil. We all are in a critical situation due to COVID-19. Lot of casualties everywhere, a sad situation. We hope our country and the whole world will come out of this situation very soon. Okay. Now today I will share the basic concepts of first aid and awareness about first aid. The overview of my talk is what is first aid, why it is important, the principles of first aid, the sequence on which we have to give first aid. Then we will analyze some special cases and finally I will wind up with some carrying methods. Now what is first aid? We are giving first aid to others by knowing the method or unknowingly we are giving that. All are first aiders. What is first aid? First aid is the immediate help given to a victim in case of emergency before the arrival of a doctor or a medical personnel. So doctors or medical personnel won't be available everywhere, but accidents and other incidents will happen everywhere. Therefore, if the public are aware about first aid, then it will help a lot to the society. Okay, but giving first aid, before giving that, we must take into account two important things. The first one is giving first aid should not worsen the condition of the victim, right? Without knowing the concept of first aid, if we give first aid, that will worsen the situation, no? So that should not happen. That is the first important thing. And the second thing is, the first aider should ensure the safety of himself. The first aider should not get harmed due to giving first aid to the other person. So the safety of the first aider is also important. So these are the simple things you have to remember before giving first aid. Now, why first aid is important? Because it helps during various emergency situations. So where the medical personnels are not available, this first aider will have an important role to play, because the first few minutes are very, very vital for any individual after meeting an accident. Okay. Then first aid helps the right methods of medical assistance for a particular victim, right? The correct medical assistance will be given to the particular person. And the third important thing is the first aid is benefit for the particular individual itself. So if I am familiar with some first aid methods or tips, that will help me also, okay, and it helps you to save life of people. So it is a service to the society that will help others also. Therefore, knowing first aid is very, very important. Now, as NCC cadets, why first aid is important? We are ready to serve our nation, okay. We have the training, we have the motivation for that, okay. We say that nation is first, nation first. Now, to get confidence to help others, to care others, first aid is an important tool. So first aid creates the confidence to care. It encourages ourselves to lead a healthy and safe living. We know the concepts of first aid means we will be trying to lead a healthy life as well as safe life. We won't ride horse using our bike, because we have seen when we study first aid, we will analyze different accidents, etc. Therefore, we will be choose safe riding only, okay. Then it helps to save the lives of others, very important thing. Therefore, NCC cadet should know what is first aid, okay. Then it is essential for the cadet individual, the particular cadet, and also for the community. Similarly, during training, if some small incident, somebody fell like that, then if you are familiar with first aid, then there itself you can give that first aid treatment. So that is helpful in training also, or we can say it is applied in home. First aid is useful in schools or colleges and in public cases also. Therefore, I can conclude like this: as basic first aid skills are an important life skill, okay. First aid skills are life skills. So empowering cadets with this knowledge will be a value added to their NCC experience. Lot of training experience we are getting due to camp and other activities. And if we are having this skill also, this particular life skill also, it will be a value added for you. Therefore, be familiar with the first aid tips, okay. Now comes the principle, how you can execute first aid. So you can say that first you look or see what is happening, analyze, then think, then you act. Or this principle can be expressed in another form like this: 4 A's. To do first aid, you have to follow these 4 A's, okay. First A stands for awareness. Awareness in the sense you must be familiar with the first aid basics. The reason is, if you are not familiar with the basics, you will be giving a different treatment, a wrong treatment, that will worsen the situation of the victim. Therefore, that should be avoided. So have awareness about first aid. Then you assess the situation. What is the real nature of wound? Whether it is a very hard wound or simply light wound, you just assess the situation. Then you have to similarly you have to assess the nature of wound. Okay, how many persons? All those the incident you have to analyze and assess. Then you get into the action, real action. Giving first aid. Action here represent giving first aid. You give the proper first aid for the particular person, and just giving first aid is not sufficient. No? You have to take him to hospital. That is what we call as after care. The final thing should be done, right? Then only a first aid process will be completed. So to give first aid, first you must have the awareness, then you have to assess the situation, then you have to do the real first aid, that is action, and that should be followed by after care, giving proper treatment in hospital. That is there, okay. Now we will go for the how we can protect or start giving the first aid, okay. First, you know, in India, everywhere when there is an accident, lot of crowd will be there, right, and nobody will be giving any help to the particular victim. Therefore, you with help of some others, you see that you are just giving a free air to the patient. Crowd should be controlled, okay. Then you seek response. just call by our brother or sister, something like that. See that whether there is breathing or he is able to speak. All those things you have to analyze. And if the thing is worse, you just call the ambulance. After that you do first aid. Okay, don't wait for giving first aid then calling ambulance is not advisable. Okay, then cheer up the patient. The meaning is you just encourage him. You say no problem, nothing won't happen, you will be all right. That positive things you have to feed. Then that itself will give confidence to the particular person, right? Therefore you must keep the person in a cool mind. That is very important. Then while calling the ambulance, we have to follow a certain points. Therefore it won't give or it won't take more time. So for example, you dial 108, it will be picked up at the central station. Okay, then you have to speak clearly to avoid repetition. If you are telling very fastly, then the person won't understand. He will ask again, tell me again. So that will take extra time, no? So to avoid that, you speak clearly. You just give your name. You are the informer, no? Give the name of your informer. That is your name. Then your district in the sense where the spot, accident spot, that district, village. You give a proper reference point so that the ambulance driver can easily identify. And you explain the nature of accident, whether it is between two wheelers or one car and one bike. So nature of accident or a train accident, whatever it may be, you just explain that. Then you give the condition of the patient, whether he is serious or not. Along with that, you tell the number of patients also. In some cases more than one victim will be there, right? That information should be also given to the ambulance. Okay, and very importantly, don't disconnect till full inquiry is over. Okay, he may want some more information, so you have to wait for that, and only all the information is transferred, then you have to cut the connection. So this is essential when you call an ambulance. Okay, now these basic numbers you must be familiar. Every individual should be familiar with these numbers. Police 100, then fire, and for medical assistance you will have 108. Then you must know the nearest police station number. Then the ambulance service, similarly electricity board. This is important for any individual. Okay, the small information about the first aid kit. What we will have in a first aid kit? We will have cotton balls. So without cotton we cannot give any treatment, no? So cotton is vital. Then bandages will be there, medical tape, plasters, antiseptic cream, tweezers, sponge, scissors, some aspirin tablets, safety pins, gloves, and some paper tissues. This is just to give an overview about what is there in a first aid kit. Okay, now comes the sequence. Okay, so till now we just try to understand what is first aid and why it is important, what are the principles involved, how we can start giving first aid, that we have discussed. Now comes the sequence of first aid. So here comes a doctor ABC. If you follow this doctor, then the giving first aid will be very comfortable or very smooth for you. Okay, what is this doctor ABC represents? D stands for danger, R is response, A denotes airway, B represents breathing, and C circulation. So this is our doctor, DRABC. So the sequence you can follow like this. First is D. We'll try to understand what does this D represents. Okay, D is, so imagine some accidents happen there. Definitely he will be, so you can see the diagram itself. It is in the middle of a road where lot of traffic will be there. Therefore we must see that he is protected from danger. Further maybe some other car riding over, that should be avoided. That can be done either by taking the person to a safer place, or if the condition is worse, you can make some barriers so that he is safe, right? So the first thing is the victim should be removed from danger. That itself ensures that the first aider is also safe, right? You cannot give first aid with a lot of vehicles running here and there, so it is not good, no? Therefore, first part is you have to remove the victim from the danger. So that is what actually D represents, okay? Now R, you seek response. You have to just check whether he is he is able to speak, he is breathing. All those informations you can gather by seeking the response. You can just hold his mouth and you can just check whether he is breathing. All those things you seek response, okay? Now after these two things we will be having the actual methods, okay? A is nothing but airway. So to breathe, airway should be clear. If there is any block in the airway, then he cannot, or the person cannot breathe, okay? Now you see that we are taking a particular case where the victim is unconscious, okay? The victim is unconscious, but he is breathing and he is having the sign of circulation, the sense pulse. So the person is unconscious, he is breathing and he is having pulse. In that case, this airway cleaning is done, okay? So what you have to do, you can see the diagram. You have to lift the head, chin, then see that is there any block in the air hole, right? So for that you just fold the tongue of the victim, right? Otherwise you cannot see the air hole there, airway there, okay? So then using your index finger, you just sweep out for any loose object, okay? So the idea is to clearing the airway so that he can easily breathe and he can come to the conscious state, okay? So this we will do. This is sufficient, okay? This first A itself is sufficient if he become conscious by just by clearing the airway. Some cases the victim will become conscious, right? So then you can make him to the recovery position, okay? So try to understand this. A represent cleaning the airway. A is denoting airway, so cleaning the airway. This we will do for any person when you see that he is unconscious, okay? Because by blocking the airway itself, it can make him unconscious, okay? That we will have to do. Then next we have B. B is for breathing. Okay, you have to check breathing, okay? Now the sign is the person is unconscious and he is not at all breathing, but the good thing is he is having the pulse, okay? So here now you just try to understand. The first case, the person is unconscious but he is breathing. Therefore we have stopped with that A treatment and we have made him to the recovery position. But now the person is unconscious and he is not at all breathing, but he is having some pulse. So in that case we have to go for this EAR. Before that, how you will check the breathing? You can check the breathing by using your chin, soft skin. So because the breathing they will find very difficult. Even a small breathing we cannot easily identify it. Therefore by keeping close to the nose, if you keep your chin close to his nose, you can see the breathing. If he is breathing, then it's okay. You can do the first treatment, A treatment, and make him to the recovery position. Now after checking, you find that he is not at all breathing. Therefore you have to go for EAR, expired air resuscitation, okay? What is that? So here just you pinch the nose, you close his nose, right? Then open his mouth, then you lock the victim's mouth with your lips and you give 2 slow breaths, okay, blows, okay? And then you remove your mouth, again you give 2 like that. So we are pumping, we are pushing, we are giving air inside, so that we are trying to pump the heart, okay? The person itself is not able to do that, so we are trying to initiate the breathing process just by blowing air inside his body, okay, through this process. So we are giving air from external side. So the name itself you can see it is EAR, expired air resuscitation. Now after giving this, if he is able to breathe, then make him to the recovery position. So now the concept is when we met him, he was in unconscious state. no breathing, and he is having pulse. After doing this EAR, he should be able to breathe. So he may be unconscious, but he is breathing and sign of circulation is there. Then you make him to the recovery position. Okay, I will explain what is recovery position after next slide. Okay. Now C stands for circulation, that is blood circulation, simply what we say as pulse. Okay, and we can see pulse in our hand, then that is also possible, but better you can see the pulse in the victim's neck. You can see the diagram there. Okay, that will be more, even minute pulse we can feel there. Okay, that is there. Now when you just check that, now the condition of patient is this: he is unconscious, he is not at all having any breathing, and he don't have pulse also. Now you may wonder, if a person is like this, can we make him alive? It is possible. Here is the important concept. Okay, this is even without pulse, even without breathing, and the patient is unconscious, we can, it is possible if you give this thing. It is not always possible, but it is possible. Okay, that is ECC, external chest compression. We have to give external chest compression so that the circulation begins. From circulation, if you give B, breathing will be there. Then from breathing you can make him to recovery position. Then you can call the ambulance. No, after doing this, initially you will be calling the ambulance. After doing this process, the person can be sent to the hospital. Now we will see a little bit in detail about what is ECC, external chest compression. Now you just place your middle finger in the notch where the ribs meet, right? We can see the bones, V-shaped, right? V-shaped bone. They are meeting at a particular point. There you keep your middle finger. Then above that you keep your index finger. Above that, in the sense, just facing your head, right? So middle finger, then next you have to place your index finger. Then keep your other hand next to that index finger. So already middle finger you have kept of one, middle finger of one hand you have kept there, followed by the index finger. Then the other hand should be placed next to that index finger. Okay, then you use this hand to lock. You will get a position like that. You can see the picture there. Okay, so two hands are locked, the fingers are interlaced. Okay, and the chest, you can see the hands are straight. Okay, that is very important. So this will give better idea. So this is how we have locked the fingers, and you can see the arms are straight. Just directly we are applying the pressure. The elbow should not bend. Okay, and when you give pressure, you have to give according to the condition of the patient. So this system or this diagram will give what is the actual position to give external chest compression. So basically we can save life by giving this CPR. So the combination of that EAR and ECC is what we call as CPR. Okay, now this EAR and ECC, how many times you have to give, that we will see later. So what is CPR? Cardiopulmonary resuscitation. For that, these two processes are involved. EAR is, we are giving that if the person is having pulse but no breathing, then by EAR we can give him breathe. So that is nothing but a rescue breath. We call that by the name rescue breath. We are giving rescue breath so that he can breathe. Then ECC is for the compression. We are pressing, no, cardiac compression. So these two processes combined we call as CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Now how many times you have to give? EAR, as you know, it is expired air resuscitation. If it is an adult, if the patient is an adult, you have to give full breath, and one breath for every 4 seconds, and or totally 15 breaths per minute. So one full breath you have to give, one breath for every 4 seconds you have to give. Okay, if it is a child, then you give half breath, one breath for every 3 seconds. So totally 20 breaths per minute. If the victim is an infant, then a small puff is sufficient. Then one breath for every 3 seconds. So this is the number of times we have to give EAR for adult, child and infant. Now ECC, the compression, we are giving the compression, external chest compression. So it should be go up to 4 to 5 centimeter depth for adult. With both hands you have to give, right, above that V. We have identified the position by keeping the fingers, etc. So you have to press so that the depth is 4 to 5 centimeter. If it is a child, then it should be 2.5 centimeter depth, and you have to use only one hand. Very important. You cannot give all your force to a child. Then if that is an infant, just 1.5 centimeter with just 2 fingers. Okay. So we are trying this under the last situation. There is no pulse, there is no breathing. That time only we are trying. We should not try this for a person who is breathing. That is harmful to his body. Okay, that we should not do always. Therefore, what is actually CPR? 6 cycles of 15 compression plus 2 breaths per minute. This cycle is thereby we are giving 90 compressions. Okay, one compression cycle, then 2 breaths. One compression cycle, 2 breaths. This is 2 breaths, not 2 breaths just per second. One cycle plus 2 breaths, like that you have to give. So totally 90 compressions per minute you have to give. That is what we call as CPR. Okay. Now I told you about the recovery position. No? Recovery position. So imagine we have the victim here. Then keep his head straight. Then this hand you have to take here, and you have to place the arm side of his chest. Okay. Then take his knee, move his knee to 90 degree. Then is just tilt. Okay. This is the initial position. Then we are locking the hand near the cheek. Then the other leg is folded to 90 degree. Then just rotate. Okay, this is the thing. You have to fold the left hand to 90 degree. Then palm is crossed against the cheek. Right hand palm is placed there. Then the right knee is pulled and the body is turned to the left side. Then the left leg will be straight. Right leg will be folded 90 degree. Ease breathing. Okay, if the airway is straight, we can easily breathe. So when you sleep, also if you try this position, you can feel easy to breathe. Okay, so that is about the sequence. Doctor A, B, C. In some cases, now they are saying CAB is also possible. Okay, so in all cases, recovery position. Then we will call the ambulance. Already we have informed the ambulance. Ambulance will come. Then patient can be taken to the hospital. After giving first aid, based upon the condition, definitely you have to take him to the hospital. Now some information about the blood pressure points. So we will get wound, maybe in a hand or leg or any part of the body. So if you know the pressure points, accordingly you can reduce the amount of blood leakage. Okay. So this you can see the diagram. This is for the right side. So we have the already it is labeled. Therefore, just for your information, I am just showing this. We have the concept of pressure points. So somewhere if you have a wound here, this point should be blocked. The idea is you have to block between the pressure point and the heart, right? So that is our idea. So if you have a wound here, you have to block here. Similarly, if you have a wound, the pressure point is here, you have to block here. Likewise, okay. This is for right. Similarly, this is for left. Different pressure points. Just for information, if you identify the pressure points, you have to block such that you can reduce the blood flow. Then some special cases we will just go through. Burns will occur due to fire or very heat or hot materials. Okay, it can be either a hot liquid or a hot gas or a hot solid. Chemical burn can also occur. So in that case, what treatment you will do? Basically, these three are important for any fire. So what we can do is, you can stop any one of this. If you stop temperature, reduce the temperature, or if you cut oxygen, or if you cut fuel, fire can be removed. So try to remove the fire. And this is the 9% rule. 9% rule. So every body is divided into 9 things. For example, the front portion. Front portion is 4.5 percentage. Back portion of the head 4.5 percentage. So likewise, we have 9 percentage. Then here 9 percentage, 9 percentage. Then arms 4.5 plus 4.5, 9 percentage. So likewise, the total body can be divided into 100, totally 100. Okay, this is what we call as 9% rule. If the burn has crossed beyond 30 percentage, then it is serious burn. Okay, now if it happens, then the cooling is very important. If some burning happens, means make it to cool so that you can reduce the thing. So burns best is pouring water. Okay, so that is what I have already explained. Then we have the snake bite. So snake, we are in India, plenty of snakes are available, and often people suffer this, right? And you have to identify the nature of snake. If we have too deep bites, then it is a poisonous snake. If we have small bites, then it is not a poisonous one. Accordingly, we can fix the treatment. Always you cheer up the patient, you give confidence. So don't make him get afraid. You say that nothing will happen, and you see that you are cleaning the thing, you are cleaning the blood area, press the blood out, and use a kerchief or something to hand over to hold that. Okay, and always take to hospital. Then for scorpion bite also the same treatment as that of snake. Okay. Then if some foreign body enter your eyes, don't rub your eyes. Using a small moistured cloth, you can try to remove. If the foreign body is in your eyeball, definitely don't try to do anything, go to hospital. Right? We'll just rush up. Then if a foreign body is in the air, don't use forceps or something like that. Try to tilt. If it is coming, it's well and good. Otherwise, take to hospital. Don't try anything extra there. Similarly, if it is in nose, don't put anything inside and try to get it out. Just sneeze by closing the next nose, and if it is working, no problem. Otherwise, just take him to the hospital. So we may say that a very simple thing, but don't take risk on these in organs, ear, nose, as well as eye. Then if something block your airway, choking may happen. No? So you can see the diagram. You just press there and ask the victim to give some sense of vomiting. So he can press, so that you press the stomach so that the air will come out and the blocked thing can come out. That can be tried for choking. Okay, so finally we have the carrying methods. So it is also essential. Always the accident won't happen near the main road. So it will happen somewhere there. And you may be a single person, or you may be 2 or 3. Accordingly, you can manage. Okay, now we will see if you are a single person, you have to carry a particular person. He is not able to walk, right? He has some injury in left leg or right leg. Okay, then you can give a support carry. Okay, if he is not able to land his foot in the ground, then you have to carry him. No, then you can have the shuttle bag carry or arms carry. Based upon the weight of the person, you can decide this. So, children means you can carry using arms, otherwise bag. Then you can see the diagrams or pictures that will give information. Just to say how to take the person from a particular place to the ambulance or somewhere safer region. Okay, and you see that if there is fracture, then you must be very, very careful. If you are 2, then you can try for this type of carrying. Based upon the situation, you can decide. Okay, what method you can apply. Okay, if he is all right, then if he is conscious, you can use the forearm seated method. Otherwise, you can carry like this. And if he is unconscious, you are 3 or 4. In that case, you can carry him comfortably by using a blanket. Right? You can fold him like this, or you have just 2 sheds using 2 rods and fixing the sheds as shown in the figure. you can carry him. So all these things with the available material, we can make some something like this, and you can carry, instead of getting a actual structure, you can make a artificial structure like this. And there is no cloth at all, you are 3 means you can carry the person like this. So these are some of the information how you can carry the persons. Okay. So this is the broad outline about. So what we have discussed today is what is first aid we have seen, then why it is important, the principles, the sequence of Dr. ABC, all those things we have analyzed, and some cases we just gone through. This is just to give an awareness. This is not a full course. I have just given that first aid is important. That is the message I want to say. So NCC cadets should have first aid awareness. So you can get the information from net, you can undergo some course, certificate course, etc., and that you can get benefited. Okay. Therefore, always there is a chance. Okay. A bend in the road is not the end of the road. You know that. Unless you fail to make a turn. So make a turn and use the chance, and you can success in your life. So I once again thank the organizers, and I especially thank all the participants for listening this lecture. And I just wish you all the best in your life. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.